Hello and welcome to Bright Times. Today, in our nuclear series, The Bomb, we're going to look at what nuclear weapons each country has and what delivery methods they have to drop their bomb. As you know, we like to start all of our episodes with a quote. Today's quote comes from John F. Kennedy, all the way back in 1961. He stated, "Every man, woman and child lives under a nuclear sword of Damocles, hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment by accident or miscalculation or by madness. The weapons of war must be abolished before they abolish us." As we've said in previous episodes, we're not nuclear scientists, so we're going to keep this pretty basic for us and for you, our viewers. So let's look at what some of the terms that we'll be covering are, and this will hopefully give you an easier understanding as we go through the episode. First of all, nuclear triad. This is a three-sided military force structure consisting of land, air and sea-based nuclear weapons. Not all countries have this triad system, as I will explain later. The theory underlying the triad was that spreading assets across various different weapons platforms would make it more likely for the force to survive an attack and then respond successfully. Second, deployment. Now we'll be talking about numbers of nukes by each country. However, we will make a note of the difference between their total stock and the numbers actually deployed for immediate use. Lastly, when I mention the bomb or nukes, I am talking about nuclear weapons and nothing else. And it's no surprise we're going to start with America. Russia has stated to have the most nukes, but America has currently the most deployed weapons in the world. America tested the first weapon in July 1945 called Trinity in the New Mexico desert. It was followed by two bombs dropped on Japan in August 1945. The only two nukes ever dropped in anger. Post-World War II, America was looking into developing their own missile systems and implemented Operation Paperclip as a way to grab numerous German rocket scientists and then transport them back to the USA. These scientists had built the V-1 and V-2 missiles for the Nazi regime, so they were seen as a must to help the US create their own missile program. However, with no real competition and America already being way ahead with its own air delivery systems such as bombers, the interest to develop missiles took a back seat. That was until the urgency returned when Russia exploded its first bomb in 1949. As of today, the USA runs a true triad system. In the air, they still drop nukes from bombers like the original B-52 designed and built in the 50s. But now, along with their modern stealth range, they have drones and smaller fighter bombers that can deliver not only nuclear bombs, but nuclear-tipped cruise missiles as well. In the water, the first operational missile was tested in the 50s, and by 1960, America had the first submarine-based weapon. This was called Polaris, and it was in service on a nuclear-powered sub. It is currently running 14 Ohio-class subs with 20 Trident II missiles in each one. Each missile can carry up to 8 warheads with long ranges and high yields. On land, now these are generally based in the American Midwest and comprise of approximately 400 Minuteman III ICBMs or intercontinental ballistic missiles. These have a range of about 14,000 kilometers or 8,700 miles. In summary, American nuke numbers in 2023 notes a total of 5,244 warheads, 1,770 deployed and another 1,536 awaiting dismantlement. Next up, Russia, formerly known as the USSR. As noted earlier, it fired its first nuclear bomb in 1949 and quickly started amassing the largest number of nuclear weapons on the planet. At its peak in 1998, they had approximately 40,000 plus nuclear weapons in their arsenal. They even made the biggest nuclear bomb, the Tsar Bomba, in 1954 with an astonishing yield of 58,000 kilotons. In comparison to Little Boy, the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, this was only 16 kilotons. Like the USA, Russia runs a true triad system. In the air, Russia followed the same path as the Americans, with bombers being their first delivery system. Today, they have a sizable bomber fleet, with both subsonic and supersonic bombers capable of dropping nuclear bombs or firing nuclear cruise missiles. On the sea, Russia has currently 11 nuclear-powered and armed submarines and is in the process of upgrading these subs. Named by NATO as the Typhoon class, these are the equivalent of the American Ohio class. These are one of the many manifestations of Soviet gigantomania, which seems to be an obsession with all of their weapons systems.
Our subs are the biggest ever made. Our bombs are bigger than your bombs.
That sort of thing. Now they are building a torpedo called the Poseidon, which is a weapon of last resort, defined as an intercontinental, nuclear-powered, nuclear-armed, and completely autonomous torpedo. On land, Russia is the biggest country in the world and still maintains a massive land-based missile system using a mix of fixed silos and mobile rocket launchers. Adding to the gigantomania is the NATO-defined Satan II missile, with hypersonic capabilities and a long range of around 18,000 kilometers or 11,000 miles. In summary, Russian nuke numbers in 2023 noted they have a total number of warheads at 5,889. However, their deployed missiles are about 1,674, which is in fact just a little bit less than the United States of America. We should flag that together, these two countries have over 90% of the world's nuclear warheads. The next largest holder of nuclear weapons is China. As we know, China exploded their first nuclear bomb in 1964 with the aid of Russian technology. They followed that with a thermonuclear bomb in 1967. It should be noted that the actual number of Chinese warheads is a bit of a mystery, which is no great surprise. China's current triad structure is smaller than that of Russia and the United States. In the air, China has a small number of nuclear-ready aircraft that can deploy both nuclear and conventional weapons. In the sea, like with the air, China has a smaller number of nuclear-class submarines, but equally as capable as anything as their counterparts can field. On land, China is heavily skewed towards land-based nuclear missiles, although little is known about what is in storage and what is able to be deployed. Interestingly, it was reported that China stores large numbers of its missiles in massive tunnel complexes. This network of tunnels could be in excess of 5,000 kilometers or just over 3,000 miles, and is used to transport nuclear weapons and other armed forces. The Chinese Army newsletter calls this system of tunnels the underground Great Wall of China. In summary, World Intelligence Services suggest China has a stockpile of approximately 400 warheads, but according to some estimates, it could be more than double that. Now, France is next on our list. During the Cold War, the French also had a triad system. However, they operated independently of NATO. France is no longer a triad power. Today, France's national security is based, like most nuclear nations, on deterrence. Since the Cold War, France has gradually scaled down their nuclear weapons program, with the budget being slashed in half in the last 30 years. This has been done by stopping work on ground-launched ballistic missiles, closing down nuclear test sites, and reducing their ballistic missile submarines from 5 to 4. Their nuclear arsenal is broken up like this. In the air, 10 nuclear weapons on carrier-based Rafale fighter bombers, and 40 nuclear weapons on land-based Rafale fighter bombers. On the sea, 240 warheads on its submarine fleet. In summary, France has a total of 290 warheads, of which 280 are deployed. Now we come to the United Kingdom. As we spoke earlier, the United Kingdom was pivotal in the development of the nuclear bomb pre, during, and post-World War II. Unfortunately, they were pushed aside by the USA in 1946 with the McMahon Act, which blocked the British from all nuclear advancements, causing a massive rift with the Americans at that time. As you would expect, this did not stop the British from continuing with their own aptly named project, High Explosive Research, culminating in a successful test in 1952. This changed the dynamic with the USA, who realised a good relationship with the British would be mutually beneficial. Until recently, the UK based their nuclear defence on two of the nuclear triad arenas. In the air, since the decommissioning of the WE-177 freefall thermonuclear bombs in 1998, the UK has only sea-based weapons. On the sea, 4 Vanguard ballistic subs are the sole platform for the UK nuclear weapons fleet. Each sub is armed with up to 16 UGM-133 Trident II missiles carrying up to 8 warheads each. Like the French, one boat is always at sea. On land, due to their proximity to Russia and America's extensive nuclear footprint across Europe, the UK saw little advantage of having land-based nuclear weapons themselves. In summary, the United Kingdom's peak stockpile was 520 warheads in the 70s. Today, it is stated that the UK has 120 deployed missiles and a total inventory of 225. Our next country is India. Under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, India fired a nuclear device in 1974 codenamed the Smiling Buddha. This was promoted as a peaceful nuclear explosion, if such a thing can exist. The test used plutonium produced from Canadian-supplied Cirrus reactors. Many Indian politicians oppose nuclear weapons both for economic and moral reasons, arguing that nuclear weapons would not make it safer. However, India has steadily increased its nuclear arsenal since then. Today, India runs a true triad system with the majority of its warhead either on land or air. But this is changing due to the increasing amounts of ballistic submarines built by other nations. It also has a no first use policy, saying the weapons are for deterrence only. They have not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act. Recent estimates suggest India has about 164 nuclear weapons and has produced enough weapons-grade plutonium for up to 200 nuclear weapons, or even more. India's neighbour, Pakistan, is our next nuclear power. After the partition of India by Britain in 1947, 2 independent dominions were created, India and Pakistan, and there has been continual conflict between the two ever since. This situation has also impacted on their relations with Afghanistan and the former Soviet Union, which goes a long way to explaining Pakistan's motivation to become a nuclear power as part of its defence and energy strategies. Pakistan began developing nuclear weapons in January 1972, but after India's first nuclear test in 1974, the situation worsened and the development became accelerated. Pakistan responded to India's 1974 nuclear test with a number of proposals for a nuclear-free weapon zone to prevent a nuclear arms race in Southeast Asia. India rejected multiple offers. Although it took time to happen, Pakistan eventually exploded 5 bombs underground in May 1998. Pakistan does not have a true triad system yet, but all indications say it is well on the way to getting there. Its weapons are currently land and air-based. Like India, Pakistan is not obliged to supply any information on its arsenal. However, it is estimated in 2023, Pakistan has at least 170 warheads and the capability to build 20 more per year. It also has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act. We come to our last confirmed nuclear power, and this is North Korea. Now, North Korea had shown an interest in developing nuclear weapons since the mid-1950s. North Korea did a quid quo pro deal with Pakistan that saw Pakistan receive greatly needed missile technology from North Korea in exchange for Pakistan's nuclear technology. In 2005, North Korea admitted it had nuclear weapons, but vowed to close the program. On October 9, 2006, North Korea announced it had successfully conducted its first nuclear test. An underground nuclear explosion was detected, its yield was estimated as less than a kiloton, and some radioactive output was detected. And in January 2007, it confirmed it had the bomb. It has a range of weapons and does not have triad capability. The main delivery systems are missiles. Just recently, they have built a submarine with potentially the capability to fire nuclear ballistic missiles. The Hwasong series is their main missile system, with the Hwasong 15 having a 13,000 kilometer range. This was successfully tested on the 28th of November 2017. It is stated as of 2023, North Korea has 40 to 50 warheads. And that's it. Or is it? Welcome to the worst kept secret in the world, Israel and the bomb. The State of Israel is believed to possess nuclear weapons. Israel's first Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion was nearly obsessed with obtaining nuclear weapons to prevent the Holocaust from happening again. He hoped and believed that Jewish scientists such as Oppenheimer and Teller would come to Israel and help them build a bomb. To cut a very long story short, the French partnered with the Israelis in 1960 to build a nuclear weapon. Prime Minister Guy Mollet told an aide, "I owe the bomb to them." Top secret British documents obtained show that Britain also made hundreds of secret shipments of restricted materials to Israel in the 50s and 60s. Israel's stockpile ranges between 80 to 400 nuclear warheads, and the country is believed to possess the ability to deliver them in several methods, including aircraft, submarine-based cruise missiles, and via the Jericho series of intermediate and intercontinental ballistic missiles, making them a true triad delivery capable state. All I can say is, we live in a very dangerous world, and unless we work together, it's only going to get worse. So that concludes part 3 of the show. We hope you found that interesting and informative. If you have any feedback on the show, or any questions for the two of us, then please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. Our address is brightetimes23@gmail.com. You can see it in the address of the podcast. So hit the like and follow button, and we hope you enjoy our shows. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sky and your ears glued to the radio.